What is the purpose of human life? Ever since humanity escaped the depths of the subconscious mind and became conscious beings, we have asked ourselves, what is it all for? What is the reason for my existence? Why are we conscious of our existence? As mentioned, it appears, we evolve through 3 different stages as human beings. Subconscious, conscious, and far into the future, we will evolve into superconscious beings. For years, our ancient ancestors struggled to understand these questions. And for thousands of years, beings from higher worlds have provided answers. You can see bits and pieces of the information they provided throughout the pages of ancient history. You can also see how this information has been tampered with by people who did not understand this information and who tried to fix it to their specifications. Also, in some places, the data has been purposely distorted by the power elite. For years, this was their method of control, and as a matter of fact, it still is. The power elite don't want us to know the truth about God because the God within takes away their control. They don't want people to know about unidentified flying objects, UFOs, because that tells us there are beings in the universe smarter than man, and that diminishes the power elites. The truth sets us free and gives us access to the God within. Truth also diminishes power elite control. In the light of the truth, those who would rule and control humanity will have to face who they are. They are human beings, no more, no less, and that understanding will burst their inflated egos. Today, the vital information presented to us in the Urantia book has been pushed aside and ignored by academia, which is mostly controlled by the power elites who control just about everything important to man and his survival. After studying the Urantia book's 2,097 pages for over 15 years, and writing about it, I realize more than ever that there is no way any human or group of humans could have 186 written this book without help from higher sources. The spiritual information in the book is too advanced and consistent for a human to have put together. If academics studied the Urantia book, they would recognize this truth. The Urantia book presents the full story of the history of our planet. That is how I was able to understand the origin of the Aryan race who developed the culture of India. There is no way I could have fitted the pieces together without the help of the Urantia book. Today, you'll find different religious sects running around like chickens with their heads cut off, trying to prove one thing or another about their religion's events that happened thousands of years ago, and how they are the inheritors. But if you don't have the actual history of your ancient ancestors, how can you be sure if your information is correct? The information we call our ancient history is so fragmented. It's difficult to believe any part of it, and when you do, it leads you down the wrong path. As we watch the world's news and ponder the different people of the world, we realize that just about every advanced country in the world is convinced that other planets in the universe are thriving with civilizations much more advanced than we are. I believe evolution is the key to understanding everlasting life. We have been evolving for millions of years from seeds that were planted in the ocean of life. Some scientists believe the seeds of life that brought forth our type of species were planted over 400 million years ago, when Urantian life reached the human stage. That is when a significant change took place. The stage of being indwelt by the God within, whereby we can, if we choose, become immortal beings. This earth is our first step, and it is by all indications the worst. Because of the Lucifer rebellion, our traitorous planetary prince, and the default of Adam and Eve, humanity endures dire pain, suffering, and far more war and chaos than most ordinary planets endure. As we advance into higher dimensions, we will become progressively more spiritual. And we will be given the opportunity to accept immortality. But not everyone wants to do God's will or to live forever. Those who don't want to accept immortality will go to what the Bible calls the second death. Revelation chapter 21 verse 8. Their consciousness will be extinguished. They will exist no more. Please note that there is no such place as hell. Hell is an archaic pagan belief that somehow crept into the Bible. It took me almost 1 year to read through the Urantia book. At the first reading, I tried to analyze just about every page. Again and again I concluded that I don't believe a human being of today has the wisdom or in-depth spirituality to have compiled such a complicated work. I certainly don't believe there exists a human being on this planet spiritually evolved enough. The only honest response to the Urantia book is to study this amazing book with humility, dedication, joy and gratitude. Indeed, Urantia book study groups exist all around the world. You can find a Urantia book study group near you and meet friends dedicated to understanding the truth. Those who study the Urantia book and the Bible know that with the combined forces of the God within and the essence of the human being, the soul is created. And the human individual hosts a living soul with immortality potential. The God within and the human are the parents of the potential immortal soul. And the body of the individual becomes the temple of God's as the Bible refers to it. 1 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 11. Know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you? The soul that was created by the God within and the free will of the human is what survives death. This fact of soul survival is one of the main reasons Jesus allowed himself to be put to death. He wanted to prove to us that the soul survives death. If the human chooses to do God's will, 3 days after the death of the body, the soul will wake up in another dimension and continue its evolution. Otherwise, that soul will sleep until the Group 187 resurrection. And after the group resurrection, the soul will have another opportunity to choose to do God's will. Our living and dying are not in vain. To teach the fact of resurrection is one of the primary purposes of Jesus' mission on our planet. The religions of human authority, as Jesus so accurately called them, have overlooked or ignored for centuries the real meaning of Jesus' death. He shared our human mortality to show us humans that we share his divine immortality. He did not have to die on the cross. He chose to die on the cross so that humans could see and understand the fact of resurrection. The pain ends and life goes on in joy. If we decide to do God's will and go into higher worlds, we won't become perfect beings immediately after reaching those higher worlds. We will have millions of years of evolving in those higher dimensions or other worlds to become perfected beings, and, in time, we will become what the higher beings refer to as finaliters. As finaliters, we will enter paradise where we will see the Father. We will become super-universe administrators and helpers. If we think millions of years is a long time, we should ponder the years it took our ancestors to become Homo sapiens. But our years in the higher worlds will be much more pleasant. We who started out as God's lowest evolving will creatures will become part of God's great administration in universes yet to be created. God will value us because we will know every stage of life from the lowest to the highest. Didn't the Master Jesus teach us, the last will be first? To the best of my ability, in this book I have shared with my fellow humans my understanding of life at this stage of my development. Using the Urantia book as my guide, and drawing from my past experiences, I have found my purpose in life. Since that time, peace and serenity have been my constant companion. Dear reader, it is my sincere desire that you, too, understand your origin and know your destiny.